Our next step is to develop the skier's ability to control the edge angle by tipping the lower legs under the body. Being able to control the angle of the edge is one of the fundamentals that controls turning and allows turning to happen on snow. It's also the principal movement that activates the simulator. The first step is while in an athletic stance with the skier holding onto the handrails, we're going to ask them to tip both legs symmetrically one direction. The skier should begin to travel in that direction. The skier tips the legs to the right, they will travel to the right. During the skier's first attempt to travel across the simulator, some coaching is going to be required. We'll watch the boots tip the same amount, staying parallel or symmetrical the entire time the skier is traveling across the simulator. Do this initial tipping one direction at a time. Have the skier reset to 2 flat skis, tip the other direction, and travel across the simulator. Encourage feelings in the feet of tipping, keeping the body stable and strong. Focus on the ability to tip from one set of edges to the other set of edges so that they move across the simulator, all the way to one side, tip to flat, tip to the new edges, and move all the way across to the other side. Ensure that these initial tipping movements are very small. The higher the edge angle, the faster the skier will move across the simulator, and we want to keep them moving at a slow rate to begin with. Once the skier can move from left to right and right to left with a pause in between each, it's time to start linking turns. We are going to encourage fluid tipping of the legs from left to right and from right to left with no pause in between turns. Encourage the skier to have symmetrical edge angles and symmetrical lower legs or parallel boots the entire time. Once the skier is comfortably moving from one side of the simulator to the other, have them increase the rate of the tipping movements to make slightly shorter turns. The final element of this progression is to blend edging skills with foot-to-foot pressure control skills. Starting with their hands on the handrail, have the skier find their weight evenly distributed along the length in between their feet, and then assume a basic athletic stance with eyes forward and elbows in front of torso. Have them begin turning by tipping their legs to the left and to the right. The skier will naturally feel the simulator push back against them and make one foot heavier than the other. This is a good feeling. We want to encourage this. Have the skier actively move towards the outside ski. This will increase the power from the simulator and increase the rate of travel across. This should be done very subtly and gently at first, as this new movement can be intimidating for skiers. Develop the timing necessary to blend these movements at varying levels of intensity. Ask the skier to establish balance on the new outside ski as the skis are flattened. Ask the skier to increase pressure and stability against the outside ski as the skis are tipped onto their edges. At this stage, the skier is developing the ability to actively extend the outside leg while flexing the inside leg. This comes from the knee and hip primarily. Introduce extension of the knee and hip joint to move the skier's body across the skis and change edges, and introduce flexion of the knee and hip joints to allow the skier to balance against the outside ski. Practice this to develop timing and fluidity. At this stage, your skier may be getting quite tired, and make sure you offer them water or a break.